Well, hello everyone and good afternoon. Thank you for being here on time. We have prepared this awesome presentation for you guys in case we already know that you may be eager and interested in applying to some law school programs. So before we start on to the presentation, I just want to remind you that at this specific point, you are muted and your video is turned off. You can type your questions in the chat box and these will be discussed at the end of the presentation. This session will be also available in our YouTube channel in the Education USA Mexico account. And yeah, well, let's get started. Next one, please. Yeah, well, for today, we're going to talk about the personal statement for law programs. And we have uh, three universities that have joined us today. So this will be a very interesting session for you guys. So can we go on to the next one, please? Okay, so my name is Jorge Reyes. I am the Education USA Advisor for the states of Oaxaca, Guerrero, and Veracruz in Mexico. I am joined by my peer Mariana Ocampo. She is from the Advising Center in Puebla, and I am also joined by our country coordinator in Mexico, Jenny Diaz. So we are joined by these representatives from these universities, Hannah, Ashley, and Sarah, that you will know in a little bit. But before we start with the presentation, I just want to talk about what is Education USA. Perhaps this is your first time in an Education USA webinar. Perhaps this is your, I don't know, your third time, your fourth time. So it is, if it is your second time or more than that, perhaps you are already familiar with the work we do. But for those people, for that specific people that is their first time joining a webinar from Education USA. I just want to let you know that Education USA is a global network. We are a global network of advising centers. We depend from the U.S. State Department from the United States, and the services we provide are free, and we provide accurate and comprehensive information for that specific audience that would like to pursue higher education in the United States. Um, Different with working in with an agency, we don't charge for the services we do. All our services are for free. All our webinars, all our one-on-one advising sessions, all that, you can find these services for free, and you can check all the services that we provide to international students in our webpage. um, as I said, me and my peers, we are based in Mexico, but our network extends all over the world. So if you are joining us from another country, feel free to also to visit our website, and you can find your nearest and your closest advising center. Next one, please. And again, this is a guide that Education USA has prepared for you to be ready and for you to be, as I said, prepared in order to submit an application to start your education in the United States. So this is a quick review of the 5 steps. The first one is research your options, and with this we want you to be aware of the options that you have if you are pursuing a higher education program in the States. Um, so our interest is that you can identify the program that will add to your professional path, and then you can where you can find this program within a high number of universities in the States. The second one is you need to be aware of how to pay for these programs, and this is we have prepared several webinars specifically for this for each one of these steps. The third step is complete your application, which this specific session is it's within this step. So you will know more about personal essays, and in the upcoming month, I believe we're having another webinar also regarding completing your application with some more requirements. Okay, as you can see, the number 4 is applying for your visa, and this is the fourth step because you need to fulfill the first 3 steps in order to apply for your student visa. There is no other way other than being accepted in a higher institution education in the States in order to get a student visa. Other than that, there is no shortcut for this. And the number five, the step number five is preparing for your departure. In here, we help you to be aware of the responsibilities and the rights that you are having as an international student that will start an education in the States, either for an undergraduate program or a graduate program. It is either for a master's a degree or for a doctorate degree. So this is a very quick review of the 5 steps that Education USA has globally, all over the world. So you can find this core service as part of our of the main services that we provide. So yeah, so next one, please. So with this, it is my pleasure to, can we go back the other one? Yeah, thank you. It is my pleasure to present to you our 3 panelists that we are joined with today. So first of all, we have Sarah Dorner. Sarah Dorner is the Assistant Dean for Graduate Admissions and International Outreach at the University of New Hampshire, Franklin Pierce School of Law. As the school's primary point person for international outreach and engagement efforts, she oversees admissions for online and in-person LL.M, master's and graduate certificate programs, supports marketing and strategic communications for these programs, and partners with the school's development team on international alumni engagement. In addition, Sarah works with various law school departments to provide comprehensive services for graduate and international students in areas such as student life, academic success, and career services. Sarah, we welcome you today. Okay, next we have Hannah. Hannah Logan has worked in various positions at the University of Minnesota since 2015. Her current role involves administering the LL.M, pre-LL.M, SGD, visiting scholar, and JD exchange programs at Minnesota Law, as well as faculty exchanges and partnerships with institutions overseas. Hannah spent a semester studying at Pontificia Universidad Católica de Valparaíso in Chile and lived in Spain for a year after earning a BA Communication Students and International Journalism from Hamline University in St. Paul, Minnesota. She completed her MA in International Education from the University of Minnesota's College of Education and Human Development in December 2018. So welcome, Hannah, as well. And finally, we have Ashley. Ashley Sim is the Associate Director of Admissions for the Graduate and International Programs at the University of Southern California Gould School of Law. Since joining USC Gould in 2017, she has been enrolling and advising international and domestic students for 10 residential graduate programs, including the general and specialized LL.M 2-year LL.M and legal master's and joint degree programs. Prior to USC, Ashley worked as an admissions director at the undergraduate level and practiced corporate and real estate law at Jones Day and O'Melveny and Myers, 2 large international law firms. She earned her AD in history from Stanford University and JD from Harvard Law School. So Ashley, Sarah, and Hannah, welcome. And well, the floor is yours. Remember, guys, that if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat box, and this will be discussed at the end of the presentation. So Sarah, Hannah, and Ashley, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Jorge. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Hannah. I'll introduce myself a little bit more in addition to that very kind welcome Jorge gave. Just a brief overview of what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. We'll each go into depth about our schools, just briefly for a moment, talking about the degrees that we have, where we're located, that sort of thing. Then we will jump right into what is a personal statement. That is a very important part of a law school application, or really any application to a higher education institution, a college or university in the United States. So we'll talk about what it is. Ashley will talk about what to do and what not to do when you're writing it and preparing it. And then I will talk about what schools are really looking for, a little bit of, I don't know, an inside scoop, if you will, from our perspective as admissions representatives. What are we really looking for? What do we really want? So if you go to the next slide, please, I will introduce my school first. Like I said, I'm from the University of Minnesota Law School. You can see on the map there that we are right in the middle of the country, right in the north. So we are close to Canada. It does get kind of cold in the winters, but we all wear appropriate clothing. We've got tunnels under the university to get to classes. You stay just fine. It's not a problem. It's really a beautiful, beautiful city. We have 3 law school degrees that I administer. I'm the LL.M, sort of a general one, the business law LL.M, and then the doctorate SJD. If you earn the general LL.M, you can earn one of our 11 optional concentrations, although that is not required. Many students choose to do that. Generally, we've got a really generous scholarship program. It's all automatic. We have a really fantastic pre-LL.M legal English program in the summer. All classes are integrated with JDs and LL.Ms in the same classroom. We've got some cool practical experiences I'd be happy to talk about later. As far as the city that we're located in, it's a very affordable cost of living, a medium-sized metropolitan area. Weather, we've got 4 seasons, lots of professional sports teams, Fortune 500 companies. If you've got more specific questions, ask me at the end, but I'll turn it over to Sarah for now.
Thanks, Hannah. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today. If we can just go to the next slide, please. It's always interesting to follow Hannah because even though we're located in such different parts of the United States, I think there's a lot of similarities in terms of the weather and the diversity of the programs, the seasons. So I am located at the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law. We are the state of New Hampshire's only law school, and we're located about 1 hour north of Boston, Massachusetts, just in terms of some geographical context. We offer 3 specialized LL.M degrees. We offer a program in intellectual property, which can be done in person or online. We have an in-person LL.M in commerce and technology law, and then an online-only LL.M that's specialized in international criminal law and justice. I would say that IP is really our primary area of expertise, and the school was founded over 50 years ago now by inventors and entrepreneurs who were really doing IP before IP was a thing. Our alumni network spans the globe. We're in over 80 countries. Similar to what Hannah shared, our students do have some opportunities to gain some practical experience through what we call immersive classes and clinics. We have an academic success program that will help you while you're here with us be successful in your classes, and then also lend supports for students who are interested in sitting for a U.S. bar exam. And then our career services office is absolutely phenomenal and works really closely with our LL.M students from day one to support them with their goals, whether that's to find employment in the U.S. through optional practical training or to return home. And similar to Hannah, we also have some generous partial tuition scholarships available, and it's built into the application process. So that's the highlights. I'll turn it over to Ashley so that she can introduce her school.
Thank you, Hannah and Sarah. So next slide, please. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name again is Ashley Sim. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at the University of Southern California Gould School of Law. Our school is in the heart of Los Angeles, California, on the western coast of the United States. Our beautiful City of Angels is the 2nd largest city in the United States for the legal market, and the 3rd largest city in the world for economic activity. So it is great for LL.M students who want to take advantage of everything that our city offers and our school offers on both professional and personal levels. We offer a variety of degrees in law, both general and specialized, and a full range of academic, career, and bar advising and programming to support our students. All of our applicants are considered automatically for various scholarships. And because so many of our students, both at the law school and at the Greater University, are international students, we do have 9 different international offices around the world to support our students and alumni, including an office in Mexico City. So please connect with us when you're ready to apply. Thank you.
All right, and I think I'm kicking us off with talking about the personal statement here and what it is. So the personal statement is really a carefully worded, detailed document that does the following. It's going to address who you are personally and professionally, discuss your short-term and your long-term goals, lets the reader know if you're a good fit for their institution, and then will help to confirm your level of English and writing abilities. So I think Hannah had actually shared with me before that someone had once said to her that your resume or your CV is really the black and white piece. It's the what you did and when you did it, where the personal statement adds some color to your story. So a little bit more about why did you do these different things? How did you go about it? What did you get out of them? How did this one experience lead to the next experience? So it adds a little bit more color, helps the folks who are reviewing your application get a better sense of who you are. And I think when we talk about letting the reader know if you're a good fit for the institution, this is the opportunity to really show that you know about the school, that you've really made a conscious decision to apply there and to explain why you're a good fit. I would say too that I tell students that whether you choose to use the personal statement or a separate addendum, that this can be a good opportunity to name anything that might stand out in your application material. So one example might be that if your grades suffered one semester, that this could be an opportunity to tell the story behind that. You know, maybe it was at the start of COVID, classes were going online, and that was just a huge adjustment for you. That's a perfectly understandable reason for your grades to have not been what they might have otherwise been. And so this could be a place where you have the opportunity to name some of that. All right, the next slide, please. So this is the opportunity to share more about who you are as a person. So some people it might work to just kind of start writing your ideas down, but I think it's also helpful to step back and take some time to really think about what makes you unique, what sets you apart from other people that might be applying to this program, what are your particular strengths, and if there's any obstacles or challenges that you've overcome. It can be really helpful to talk to people who know you well, both people who know you personally, so your family and your friends, but then also people who know you professionally and know what you're capable of. I think sometimes we can be our own worst critics. So listening to someone who knows you well and can really tell you what they think are your strengths can be really a helpful exercise to start this process. You want to think about what you've done that really demonstrates something interesting about you that's related to what you want to do in the future. So if you want to be going into practicing international law, having some international travel experience might be relevant to kind of explain, you know, that you've done this before, or you've taken some courses in that area already, and you know that this is the field for you. So this is an opportunity to share more about that. Next slide, please. So the personal statement is also where you really want to give us some more information about your goals. I had mentioned before, you want to talk about both the short-term and the long-term goals. So really, really be authentic about this. Be true to who you are and what you're really trying to achieve, and let us know what that is. So think about who your audience is here. And in this case, it's really a committee that will be reviewing your application. So you want to take this opportunity to talk about what you've already done and how that relates to the work that you hope to be doing in the future, and how pursuing this LLM might help you get there. And so, you know, one example that we have here is that if you don't have a background in public service, don't say that you do. Be honest, really highlight your strengths. If there's areas where you know that there's gaps, that's okay. And say that you're looking forward to using that LLM experience to fill those gaps or to get some more expert knowledge. As I mentioned before, our school is specialized in intellectual property, and I will see applications from students who have a lot of background and experience in that area. Maybe they already took a lot of classes or they have some professional experience. And then there's other students that have had some exposure and they know that this is the field they're interested in, but they know that they need more direct training to get to where they want to be. So it's okay to kind of say, I've got a little bit already, and because I had that little bit, I know that this is what I want to do, and the LLM is the next step for helping me really get there and achieve those goals. And of course, you want to be realistic. You demonstrate that you know the market if you have a lofty goal. So I think a good example here is, you know, if you want to open up your own law firm someday, that's a really big goal, and you're probably a little ways out from that. So demonstrate to us that you recognize that that's a big goal, and that there's a lot of steps that you'll need to take along the way, that you have the understanding of what that will be. And again, that LLM is just part of that process for you. All right, next slide, please. So I'll share a little bit about what this looks like. And let me start by saying that it might be different for each school. So if you're applying to multiple schools in the US, it's really important to follow their instructions about what they're looking for in the personal statement. Some schools might have like a specific question that they want you to address. They might have a specific word or page limit. And others will have just a free, take whatever space you need and just tell us a little bit more about yourself. So be sure to check in with the school about that. There will be clear instructions about this in their application materials, but it's always a great idea to connect personally with someone at the school. Folks like me and Hannah and Ashley, we're here to help you and to walk you through this process. And it can be a great opportunity to start to build a relationship with the admissions staff as well. So reach out if you have any questions about what it is they're truly looking for. Students will reach out to me frequently to kind of ask, what they could do to make their personal statement stand out. So know that it's okay to reach out and ask us, but make sure that you're following whatever instructions were there. And if there are specific questions that they want you to address, that you're taking that space to do that. And of course, this goes without saying, but you really want to proofread and make sure that there aren't any errors or mistakes. I think one of the biggest ones we see is you're saying you're showing why you're a good fit for the school and why you want to go there, and then you've put the wrong name of the school in. So that can leave a bad taste. So make sure that you proof for those things, and then of course just grammar. So this is the type of document that you really want to have someone that you trust read through it, look for any typos that you may have missed. I will say too, and Hannah and Ashley, you might be addressing this later, but in a world with, artificial intelligence now with AI, admissions folks do not want you using those tools. This personal statement is just that. It's personal. It's about you. It should come from you. So really be mindful of that. I think that we're seeing more and more of this, and it's fairly obvious. And so that's a quick way to be denied admission to a school. So I know the temptation can be there. And of course, we encourage you to use tools that like spell check. But really, this should be authentic, and it should be original, and it should be your work. Okay, next slide, please. And then you want to just be thoughtful about the words you're using. So use strong verbs and active voice. I organized this, and I prepared that, and I researched this. Really tell a story that's active and engaging. And make sure as well that it kind of flows. So as much, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a linear, like first I did this and then I did this, but a little bit you're telling a story about who you are, why you're interested in pursuing your LLM. So just be mindful of that as you're crafting that. You want to use active voice and have it be engaging, and be sure that there's verb subject agreement, that you're not sometimes using the past tense and sometimes using the present tense. So when you go through to check for any errors, proofread for that as well. And I think, Ashley, am I turning it over to you here to carry on?
Yes, next slide, please.
All right. So I'll pass it over to Ashley for the next slide then.
Thank you, Sarah. With what Sarah has just shared, perhaps we can focus a little bit more on what to do, and related to that, what not to do. As the term personal statement indicates, a personal statement is personal. Every person is unique. And every person is capable of writing a great personal statement. So do use your unique voice to tell us about your personal story. However, don't tell your entire life story. Some students start from their birth and childhood all the way to present time, telling us kind of a chronological story of their life. That is not necessary, and it may not be that helpful. Instead, discuss what is relevant only to your goal of attending an LLM program. You do not need to use AI to write your story. As Sarah talked about a minute ago, as really that negates your unique voice. I think a lot of students think that AI would be helpful to use, but I think what it does is takes away from sharing your story from your own unique point of view and your unique style of writing. So please, stay away from AI for a number of reasons. In addition to the personal statement being personal to you, it is also personal to the school and the program you're applying to. So share where you're applying to this specific school and degree program. Writing a generic personal statement that can be submitted to all of the schools that you're applying to may save you some time, but it's not as effective. Perhaps consider dedicating one paragraph towards the end of the personal statement to make sure you address why specifically you're applying to this school and this particular program. And then revise that paragraph for the additional schools or different programs you're applying to. That might make it easier for you if you're concerned about writing a lot of different personal statements. When you're doing this, try not to copy language from the school's websites. Sarah, Hannah, and I are familiar with what our websites say. So we don't want to see just a simple regurgitation of perhaps what we have written for our websites or publications. Instead, talk about how you personally discover the school or the program and what about them appeals to you. Next, please. After you write your personal statement, double check it before submitting it. Did you check your spelling and grammar? Did you search for the law school names just to make sure that you know which personal statement you are attaching for which application? Did you write this in one sitting or return to it over time? It might be helpful to draft it and then make time on your schedule to kind of let it sit for a period of time and then return to it to see with fresh eyes as to how you might want to revise it. Did you print it out and did you read it out loud? I know for me, that helps me a lot. I do this whenever I write so that I'm not just reading it quietly, silently on the computer. But if you print it out and you read it out loud, you can hear how it might sound when somebody reads it after it's been submitted. And you may catch some things that you didn't catch before when you're just skimming over with your eyes. Did you have one other person review your personal statement? It might be a nice idea to go to someone that you trust and ask if they could review your personal statement and provide you with some feedback. Of course, you don't perhaps want to ask too many people because, again, that might water down your personal unique take on how you're writing your personal statement and your unique voice. So perhaps just ask one other person who you trust as being a second set of eyes for your personal statement. And finally, did you make sure that this is your work? Again, it's not the work of your trusted advisors. It's not the work of Education USA advisors. No matter how experienced those people may be and what great advice they may give, take those nuggets of advice and internalize it and think about how you might want to incorporate them in your own personal statement. And next, please. So here's an example to kind of illustrate what you might see in a personal statement. It starts out pretty well. I'm reading that it's addressed to my school, and it's going to talk about why you're interested in our school, And then I come to a part that mentions a different school and information that doesn't apply to our school. And again, you might want to make sure that you're doing more than a simple search and replace function on your computer as you write. I laugh when I kind of talk about this example, but it happens really often. We have a crosstown rivalry here in Los Angeles with UCLA, and I can't tell you that, but every year we get essays that have been written first for UCLA and inadvertently gets inputted into the application for us at USC. And we read all about why the applicant is interested in attending another school. So it's a good best practice to look over your essay and make sure that these kinds of simple mistakes are not being made. So I think with that, I will hand the slides over to Hannah.
All right, thank you, Ashley and Sarah. There are some good questions in the chat. We will get to them. I do think using Grammarly is probably not in the category that we've talked about. Don't use AI. I do think that's a pretty helpful tool. I will say Education USA advisors are really great resources if you need someone who speaks English well to look over your personal statement. If you don't have a close friend or family member who has a level of English high enough, Education USA advisors are a great resource. So generally, we encourage students to do their homework, just what you want, more homework, right? But we, as admissions professionals, are most interested in admitting students and having them enroll if they're going to be a good fit. We do not want you to come to our school if it's not going to be a good fit for you. You should not want to come to our school if it's not going to be a good fit for you. You are not going to be successful. You are not going to be happy. That will be a bad experience for you then, and then you're going to graduate and it will not help you as much as you want. So we really want to know in an honest, authentic, genuine way, like we've been talking about, is our school going to be a good fit for you and why? Why do you want to come to our school? So doing things like reading the website, reading the faculty biographies, learning more about what the strengths of the schools are, if they have a specialized program, a particular professor, a particular clinic maybe. Talking about that is really important. So Tom in the chat asked about what is an appropriate breadth and detail of the description of the school's qualities. Like Ashley said, we know what's on our website. We know why our schools are really wonderful. So don't copy and paste or simply restate something that you've read on the website, but certainly mentioning, I have read the biography of Professor Cotter. His work in intellectual property is really similar to the research that I've done. That is important and will show that you have done your homework and know what you're talking about. You're not simply applying to 10 law schools just to see what you might get admitted to. Thinking about geographic location is important. Sarah and I live in places where it is cold for a few months of the year, maybe longer. Ashley is on the ocean. Like maybe you want to go to somewhere where you have sunshine 300 days a year or the cold doesn't bother you. You don't need to talk about that in your personal statement necessarily, but thinking about the good fit. If you know you're not going to be happy, don't waste your time or our time. And like Ashley said, each personal statement should be unique for each school you're applying to. So perhaps most of it is very similar if you're applying to all three of our programs, but it should be slightly different and not just the name of the school being swapped out. If you could go to the next slide, please. So like I said, we're looking for the best fit for our sake and for your sake. So we are looking for you to show us that you are interested in our school specifically. We're looking for you to understand what our program is like and that what you are like, and that will be a good fit. We need you to show some maturity. If you understand that, you know, maybe the weather will be challenging, but this professor is exactly who you want to work with and you're so excited to take a class with them, that's okay to talk about that. You have the maturity to say, it's not going to be perfect, but I know it's going to be ideal for me. We want you to talk about yourself and tell us why you are interesting and talented. You don't need to be in a band. You don't need to have published 7 articles, but brag a little bit about what you have accomplished and how that's going to serve you and us as an LLM or other law student. So we're really looking for you. We want it to be authentic, genuine, honest. And you can, like I said, you can brag a little and show off because you are accomplished students. If you are even considering studying in the United States, that already shows a level of motivation that we are interested in having in our programs. So present yourself so we can find you among the crowd. We receive a lot of applications. This is a really interesting way to make yourself stand out and be more visible in the pile of applications. So on this last slide, if you'd go to this next one, please. We kindly ask that you think about us. We, as the admissions committee members, are reading a lot of these personal statements. Sometimes we have to read a lot in one day, and so we can read them pretty quickly. So be honest, keep it interesting. There's no need to write a novel or a poem. We don't need that, but simply stating when I was born, my dad was a lawyer, something. You don't need to do that. Be interesting and relevant. If you are wondering, I don't know if this detail is necessary, you can probably remove it. Less is often more. Be as concise and specific as possible. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is how enrolling at your LLM program will help me get there. I think that we're all looking for people who know what they want, and we want to help them get that. I think I spoke really quickly. I think that was the last slide. That is what we have for you today as far as the personal statement goes. I think I answered the questions in the chat so far. What other questions do you have at this moment? We are here to help. We are here to answer questions. You can, of course, email us later, but take advantage now if you'd like to ask us a question about any of our programs specifically or the personal statement, of course.
I guess that more than questions, we have like several comments in here, but I would like to ask you a question. Specifically, Hannah, you mentioned something about the best fit. And this is something that we are very interested in our advisees to get to know. How do I do a good research among the universities, in this case, among the three of you, for example? How do I align my interest to the university, to the university's like goals and objectives?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I have given entire 1-hour presentations on how to find the best fit.
I know.
I love this. I love this question. It's so important. It's so important. It is a year or more of your life that you are investing. And so you want to take time and do that research. So the first place to start, of course, is the university websites themselves. So look at our websites, read about the program. Many of us have pages where we show who the current students are or who some of our recent alumni were. That's a good way for you to see, oh, this is the type of student who is successful there, who graduates and completes that degree. If you are interested, we are always happy to connect you with current students or recent alumni from Mexico, from Latin America. If you want to ask your questions in Spanish, that is not a problem. Just ask us. We are here to help you through this process. You can look at things like, so like Los Angeles is kind of famous, but if you want to look up, say, the city of Minneapolis, you can learn about the different cultural events that we have. You can look at the most popular restaurants. You can think about what are the sort of festivals that we host throughout the year. The ice sculptures, for example, that are going to happen hopefully next week if we have enough ice. Looking at the city itself or the state can be really helpful. But I think my first recommendation is always to talk to somebody else who has done it, who has a similar background from you, or a similar background as you. That's just a good place to start, I think. And then they can help you figure that out as well. But the website, talking to a current student or alumni, and then looking at the city generally, you'll want to think about the academic part, of course, but it's a year of your life. You're going to live there. You're going to need to eat, to exercise, to get fresh air outside. So looking at the city itself is good too.
To add to what Hannah just shared, I would like to suggest that When you're looking at the website or when you're connecting with us, as you can see on the screen, we have our email addresses. An easy way to learn more about the school is to get on our mailing lists, because then we will invite you to events, we will share information, we will be emailing you, and that's a really easy way, in a way, to get to know us because we will be sharing information. So there may be a webinar that is more specific to each of our schools, or events for applicants to attend. We may be sending you publications to review. So I think a great way, if after you do an initial research project to determine which schools you might be interested in, get on our mailing list and we will provide you with information about our schools and connect you to, as Hannah said, current students or alumni, our international offices, if we have them, so that you can connect with additional people to provide you with information and answers to your questions.
And I'll just add that at, the higher level, Jorge, when you ask about kind of finding the right programs, I did just put a few resources in the chat. I don't mean to be endorsing anything over the other, but I think that those are some helpful resources: the American Bar Association, the Law School Admissions Council, and then LL.M Guide, just in terms of searching for programs, particularly if there's a different, a subject area. I see that there's a question for someone who's interested in data privacy. So you can search for schools that would have programs related to data privacy. So that can be a good way just to start to narrow your search. And then from there, really that's where you want to dig into the different schools. Where are they located? There's no right and wrong here, but lots of good questions to be asking in terms of location, the size of the program, the access to faculty, how engaged are students, how big are the classes, what each individual is looking for will be different. So that's why there's so many great options out there to choose from. But I think that can just help to start to narrow. And then I would, of course, I know, as Hannah and Ashley and I have said, we are available to help, but so are our students in many cases. I, have a number of students who are really happy to connect with people who are where they were at this time 1 year ago. They really want to share about their experience and help you through that. And I think that they're really honest too. They're going to tell you what's great about a school. They're going to tell you, what maybe they wish was a little bit better or different. As we were talking about proofreading essays, I just learned that one of my LL.M students has formed a relationship with an admitted student, and it sounds like she was even helping to review the personal statement to kind of say, I think this is maybe, and I had no idea about that. So I think that students can be a helpful resource, and schools can help get you connected. I'll pause there. And Ashley, it looks like there's a question specifically for you about a personal statement for someone who's applying to your school.
Thank you. I was about to type an answer also about the application, kind of when to apply. I know that Hannah has replied to that as well. I think as part of your research, it's a good idea to find out what the deadlines are for the schools, because deadlines can really differ. And applications generally do open up in the fall, let's say around September. But some schools have early deadlines, and some schools have much later deadlines. So it's a good idea to start looking at the school's important dates early in the fall, to then see when applications open up and when applications start closing. I would say the majority of students are really working hard on their personal statements and so forth in the fall months, with the goal of submitting everything by the end of the calendar year. But many schools have deadlines that extend beyond that. So, don't despair, just look for the schools that you're interested in. On their websites, they'll definitely tell you about the dates to be aware of. Yeah, and then the question about our specific LLM and privacy law and cybersecurity. And the question is, I'm open to the included my personal statement, although I'm applying for. Yeah, definitely. In terms of your personal statement, yes, you should discuss what area of law you're interested in, what specialized LLM you're interested in. If you are interested in the 2-year extended LLM, you can indicate that on the application. There is a question about that. And if you change your mind, it's very flexible. So pick the program initially that you are interested in applying to. And if you want to go from the 1-year LLM to the 2-year LLM, it's really easy to switch. And you at the end of your first year of your LLM, if you're doing the 2-year LLM, we will confirm at that point what specialized area you would be focusing your studies on. So if you have any questions or concerns, I'm happy to meet with you separately. As you can see, my email address is on the board, and I'm happy to discuss, what programs you might be interested in applying to.
Can I answer Martin's question in the chat?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So Martina asked about being boastful in a personal statement. And I talked about this a little bit, but I think every culture is different. In the United States, we are more independent, certainly, than a lot of cultures. And we're also, I think, a little more direct than other cultures. And so when you're writing your personal statement, talking about your accomplishments, especially professionally, if it is true, maybe don't think about it as boasting. You're just stating, I accomplished these things and I'm very proud of them, right? Like, you should absolutely tell us what you are proud of and what you have accomplished. And if you have strong emotions, you are more than welcome to share those and express them in your personal statement. If your general tendency as a person is more, like you said, measured and prudent, I think, then that's totally appropriate for your personal statement. But if you want to be a little more strong in your emotions and express them that way, you're more than welcome to. That is certainly not something we would think badly about. If you are really proud of, I got my master's degree in 1.5 years. I, wrote all these articles for my student newspaper. You can absolutely be very proud and tell us that in strong emotions.
I think too, I'll add to that, Hannah, that sometimes I'll see personal statements that will give us some context about the firm that they worked at. This is one of the top ranked firms in this area, or this was like a top school, or this was kind of where you ranked in relationship to your peers. And I think that can be helpful. We're certainly not experts on every country to know what the best firms are, or the best internships, or any competitions that you were a part of. So I think it's okay. Oftentimes your recommenders might highlight this for us too, but I think it's okay to do that in your personal statement. And particularly, if you worked really hard to accomplish something, you should be proud. And it's okay to say that.
Yeah,
I'm
to
seeing,
add to that, just to add to that, one quick thought. I think be boastful. That's where I land, because if you're not sure, be boastful. I think it's perfectly fine. We will see your accomplishments on your resume or CV. I think students often are very modest and they don't feel comfortable talking about themselves. And I think it's okay. We expect you to talk about who you are and to be proud of your accomplishments. So if you're in doubt, be boastful.
I see a great question here from Tom, and I would say there's been some in the chat talking about shorter courses. So Ashley and I both put a little something in there. This is that, feel free to reach out to us separately if you're interested in, something that's a little bit shorter than the LLM and less of a time or financial commitment. And we're happy to share more about those opportunities. Tom was asking about the paragraph where you demonstrate that the school is a good fit and if that should be the introductory paragraph. Or would a second paragraph be too much? I don't, there's no right or wrong here. I've seen it work really well when it's kind of near the end of your personal statement, because you've kind of shared a little bit about you and why you're pursuing this degree. And then it's kind of natural to end with, and because of all this, this is why this school makes sense for me. So I think that works really well. But I think it's okay to even, start up front too by saying, I've researched a lot of programs. I really love your school and here's why, and let me tell you about myself. So I think that either way works well. I see Hannah and Ashley nodding, but is there anything you would want to add to that or? Okay.
No, I think I agree with what Sarah said. And I think just look at your personal statement, what you've written, and what comes naturally is what you should go with. So if it makes sense to discuss why the school is a good fit for you towards the end, do that. But if you feel like you want to start off that way, that's perfectly fine too. We'll be reading your entire personal statement, so don't worry about that. And then I see a question about a February 2nd deadline for campus LLM ADR. I'm not sure what this might be. We at USC, we do have an LLM in alternative dispute resolution, an LLM in ADR. We do have a priority application deadline of February 1st, which is tomorrow. And you welcome to apply before our priority application deadline, but you can apply after that as well. It's rolling basis after that. So if you are interested in our LLM and ADR program, reach out to me and we can discuss kind of where you are in the application process and whether it might be a good fit for you to apply for fall 2024.
Okay, I don't see any more questions. And I just would like to add something regarding how to research the best fit. And another tool that I always recommend to my advice is not only for law programs, is to look for other alumni, for alumni that have been in some specific schools. And one specific social media that I recommend to use is LinkedIn, because through LinkedIn, you can also kind of peer up with people that have your same interest, and through LinkedIn you can find these people, and you can find mentors, and you can find more friends and more specific people that are looking into the same field that you would like to increase your professional path. That is something that I always recommend, as I said, not only for law programs, for every program. Okay, remember LinkedIn is a professional social media channel. So use it, right? And the second thing is that I would like to also put my input regarding the essays, okay? Because through the education essay perspective, we understand, well, in my case, I do understand that if I'm writing an essay, I am also putting my personality in that specific essay. Remember that the essay is the only requirement when you are writing your voice in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but in a way, it's also a way to demonstrate the way you are, right? So if you feel like if you are shy and you don't want to like express a lot, that is totally fine, because that's part of your personality, right? In the other hand, if you are like out loud and you are so extrovert and all that, schools will notice that also in your personal essay, or just be aware of that. So it is an extension of you as well, right? And I guess Ashley, Hannah, and Sarah, they shared a lot of resources here, a lot of something that we always focus on is on the what not to do. Okay, so as I said, take Education USA as a resource to help you with this specific, not only with this requirement, with the whole application process. Okay, so either for New Hampshire, for Minnesota, or for Los Angeles. Okay, so take our advice towards your application. Okay, so in here I'm gonna share just a quick bit.ly in case you would like further information, and if you would like to schedule a one-on-one meeting with the advisor closest to you, you can find it here. This is something that we are working on, and feel free to fill out this Google form, and then we can reach out to you. Okay. So I guess we can pass on to the next and final slide, Mariana. Okay, so these are the channels that you can connect with us as well. Ashley, Hannah, and Sarah, they have already shared their contact information. Remember, this session will be uploaded into our YouTube channel, so you can review it since tomorrow, and also will be uploaded in our Facebook page. So in case you want to review the whole session, feel free to do so. And again, if you would like a continuous advising service, you can fill out this Google form, and then somebody from Education USA will contact you as well. Okay. So I guess we did pretty good on time. And I just want to thank Hannah, Ashley, and Sarah for their time. So any last words, Ashley, Hannah, or Sarah?
Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'd like to just say that Education USA is an amazing source of information and advising. And we certainly rely on Education USA to be a partner. So if your education advisor, Education USA advisor is saying, hey, we're available for you, wow, take that up and take use of that because it could lead to lots of different amazing paths toward studying here in the US.
I second what Hannah and Ashley said, and I just have one final piece of advice. So I'm so sorry to. I know we talked a lot about knowing about your goals and communicating that, and I just want to say that sometimes depending on where you are in your career, you might not know exactly where you want to end up yet. And that's okay. I think it's helpful if you have some idea of where you're going and why you're pursuing the LLM, but it's okay to be honest about that in your personal statement and to say, there's a few different directions that your career could go. And maybe you're going to use this time to start to figure that out. So don't feel like just because today we told you, like, tell us what your goals are, that you have to come up with these goals, because more importantly, you want to be authentic. So if those goals are still taking shape, that's okay. So that would be my last piece of advice as you work on your personal statements.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sarah, Hannah, and Ashley. So guys, feel free to contact us, and feel free to contact Ashley, Hannah, and Sarah as well. So thank you for your time. This is the end of the presentation. So you are dismissed. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.